So in a previous video going over my thoughts on every Joestar, nearing the end I said I'd like to do something like that but with a different group of people. The Phantom Troupe is what I've had in mind, and now I feel like it'd be a good time to talk about them because I wanted to talk about Hunter more anyways. So I'm going to be splitting this up into two videos, and I had these sectioned out on who I'm going to be talking about, and they're splitting up by even and odd numbers and by how many are present. I've removed Hisoka altogether because I want to dedicate a video on him purely, and because he wasn't really truly a spider. Honestly, I have a video in mind for a lot of the troupe, but that's for later. So with the introduction out of the way, let's get to our first member here. The first spider in line is going to be Uvogin. Uvo to me was the spirit of the troupe, but not in terms of him being the living embodiment of what the troupe is. Spirit in terms of energy, because it looked like he brought the most vigor to the group. It was probably made like that so that we had more focus on him because of what was going to happen, but for what we were able to see, it looks like that he was one person to where everyone in the troupe could just look at him and have a well enough time watching him have a field day. It would sound weird for me to say that he was one of the more positive spiders because of what they do and what they're about, but it's just the energy he had matching up to the other spiders like Shalnark or Finks, and also matching up to characters like Gon. I think the best way to describe him is an enhancer example because he embodies a lot of the traits of what makes up an enhancer. I love his character in all of his interactions and what he's done. The fight, or well, I'm not sure if it was really a fight on their part, but Uvo versus the Shadow Beast. I love that fight purely on character versus character, since all of them came with the energy as if they were already a huge threat, but they got tossed around by Uvo, who has that same energy all of the time. Then there is the fight between Uvo and Kurapika, and I love that so much, but I probably have more to say about Kurapika than Uvo when it comes to that fight. Though there is Uvo dying with his ideals and him not giving any information to Kurapika because of how deeply invested he is as a spider. He's such a cool character, and I think the best thing about it is that I don't miss him at all. I feel like he did everything he was made to do, and when I think of a character that has done their full job, I just can't miss them. It's as if they never died. It's more of the feeling of accepting the end of a show when it ended off on a good note. So final thoughts on Uvo. Great character for what he did and what took after, and to be as honest as possible, when seeing his character design, I legitimately couldn't unsee Yusuke's demon form. It's probably because I'm one of the many who had seen Yu Yu Hakusho before Hunter, but it's just something I can't remove from my head. I'm pretty sure not that many people see that either, but it's just like, I don't know, that's a very huge thing for me. Now for Shalnark. I didn't know I liked him as much as I do, especially since I feel like I haven't seen that much of him to begin with. Though even with that feeling, I still really do like his character. I look at his character as the smaller brother in the group that's smarter in certain areas than a lot of the group. When it comes to the spiders, it looks like Shalnark is the technological brain of the group. It's possible that everyone is as aware of the online world, but just doesn't care as much as he does. But I haven't had any reason as to why I should be thinking that way, since he's always the one we see online. Also, I'm not sure what term to use for this, but his Nen ability black voice speaks volumes about his character. It takes one antenna into someone, and then he ends up puppeteering them into whatever action he wants, using them to hurt others, be a shield, anything he wants. He's legitimately playing with people's lives, and it's insane. His appearance is almost a front to what type of person he is, and at the same time, it's really not. There isn't an unawareness. He's fully competent with what he's doing. It goes along with the spiders too, because they know what they do isn't okay. It's just that they don't care. I want to say that they're numb to what's not morally correct, but if it was to happen to one of their own, it's completely different. I can't find the easy words to describe this, and I also don't want to stay too long on this topic because that's getting into more general spider territory than the individual characters. So to finish up on Shalnark, irony is a painful thing in this world. Just leaving it on that. Now we're on Franklin. I can't think of anything where I need to make a huge note of it. I like his design and ability, but I don't think I have that much for him. I like the mysteriousness behind Franklin than Franklin himself. All of these scars and his ability to unload from his hands somehow, it's interesting. I'd love to know what happened, but I think I'd love just more info around the Troupe in general. He also seems like a pretty reasonable person when it comes to certain situations where he can't just unload on all of his problems. But yeah, not much to say as the others, but you know, he's cool. Now on Fink's, I need to get this family mentality out of my head, but it just fits so well. To me, Fink's plays the role of an older brother to the group, with how he's able to just play around with the Troupe and others, or well, it's playing around to him. It just fits his character archetype. While him and the Troupe usually leave whatever situation to the members that got themselves into them, to them, he also helps with a lot of little things that people wouldn't normally care about. For example, when he's telling Karuto about how the Troupe works, what to avoid and not to get into, giving Shizuku his clothes, walking in the center of the group so that he's vigilant enough for those in front and behind him, little things like that. He's also one of the spiders who doesn't hold back with what he's feeling, and one of the best examples of some of the beliefs of the spiders. There was also him and the spiders against the ants of Meteor City, and it was a painful fight. You can understand that this is something that they don't want to do, but they do it, and they do it in the best way to commend those people of Meteor City. It's interesting because the Troupe only cares about the spider and those of Meteor City, which could just be called their people. This is a skewed morality we see in a couple of characters when it comes to Hunter, but back on Fink's in specific, I wanted to describe what I liked about that interaction between him and Kurapika, but I don't really know what to approach. There's him believing that being evil in the situation would somehow crack Kurapika. The fact that Crollo's life was on the line and he was messing around like that, or how he just completely broke character and just ended up calling back Kurapika to clarify that he was joking. It's such an odd interaction, especially since you don't really see that many bad guys in anything ever apologize for being the bad guy. I love that interaction so much. But final thoughts on his character. Love his character, love his design. He looks like a soccer player when he's dressed up all casually, but then he has that pharaoh thing going on with him, and I like that a lot. And also, my bad if I keep on accidentally calling the Troupe bad guys. They're kind of bad guys in the whole thing, but at the same time, they're just their own group. It's kind of hard to say bad guys in Hunter because there's just so many things going on, and yeah. Now on Machi has been an interesting character to me in the sense of, oh, she's the one where I see her going about her own business first, then seeing her with the spiders for her introduction. The Troupe obviously going about their own business when there's not a command they're all following, but Machi's the only one where I've seen it. It was also especially interesting because it was with Hisoka, which originally had me asking a lot of questions about it. She's a cool character for the most part, and I love her design and choice of clothing. She also keeps cool throughout all of the times I've seen her in the anime. Certain things change in the manga because of reasons, but for the most part, she keeps it cool while also being extremely cold to everything. It's kind of like, oh yeah, she's cool and cold, which is also a form of cool, you know what I mean. But final thoughts on her, because I don't really have that much to say. Casual wear Machi is probably the best Machi. And finally, Nobunaga. Nobunaga to me was originally odd because he didn't seem like a member of the Troupe to me. That was probably only due to him being a swordsman. It just looked like a normal guy for a team that had Frankenstein on it. I obviously warmed up to Nobunaga because he's one of the spiders that spoke the most. I started to love his character a lot after the loss of Uvo. He had such a strong determination to avenge him too, but also he looked for someone to fill the void. That says like levels for his character to just like have those levels of grief to it. He saw that in Gon, the Gon had potential to be someone to fill the void, because Gon is actually a great fit for the spider if he already wasn't dead set on his own beliefs. I would have loved to see more of him because I wanted to know what his wrath from the loss of Uvo would look like against a formidable opponent. On what else I like, he's one of the more alive members in the group. To say, if he wasn't really on the Troupe, he looks like he could be a supporting character to our main group of Gon and all of them. And it's just, he doesn't, I don't know, there's not really, I don't really get an evil vibe from him. But, you know, I don't really get an evil vibe from a lot of the Troupe. It's pretty crazy. But final thoughts on him. We need a lot more Nobunaga fights. That's a big thing for me. And that's going to be it for part 1 of this 2-part set. I can't wait to do part 2 since it has more of my favorite spiders. Obviously, we know who's going to be in there. Thank you all for watching. I should be making more Hunter videos in the future. I also want to have a month of just following up on all the things I've missed in terms of final videos for a lot of these, I guess, quote-unquote sets, or, well, the next video of whatever series. I might make August or September the month for that, where I just clean up everything that was already on my plate. But yeah, who knows? I'll see you guys all in the next one. Until then, peace out and Godspeed.